Friends, I literally played every single first-person shooter demo in the whole of Steam Next Fest, and I'm about to bring you the best of the best, so I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you get a lot of enjoyment from the demos after this video. Let's do this!
I can try and tell you what it was like, but it would be a lie. I didn't see it with my own eyes, neither did my father or his mother.
All of humanity has diminished to a single vault. Hundreds of years have passed, so much time that no one really knows how old the Mother Hub is. Generations have been born and died over and over again. Wars have been fought, technology has been created and lost. A dark age is upon us, one in which the scraps of humanity must hold together or be extinguished. Now, I actually came to this game right after playing another slow-paced immersive horror FPS called Chasmal Fear, and that game didn't make it to this list due to some massive performance issues and incredible jank that made that game not feel good at all, so I can't recommend it to you. My hopes are still high for it, but it didn't hold the quality required to make it into this list. Now, Mother Hub on the other hand, wowee! I was taken a bit by surprise here. The game was recommended to me by you awesome folks watching my videos, and I didn't really know what to expect. However, those non-existing expectations were blown through the door. The game has some fantastic voice acting, a super dark atmosphere that is really well crafted, highly detailed environments that manages to never look too cluttered, interactable objects with physics, thick-looking weapons, a ton of lore, and somewhat breakable environments. It was actually a joy to play this, especially thanks to its environments and atmosphere. Now, I said that it features some sick-looking weapons, and while yes, it does, but they don't feel great. They lack some visual feedback to them to really give them that punch. And the same goes for the enemies. They feel too static and don't really react as they should, getting shot by the big brother, aka big ass shotgun. But considering this is a solo developed game and the already massive scope of the game holding the quality of a mid-sized studio, some corners are usually cut. Luckily, not in a sense that ruins the experience. I still had a blast playing the demo and I can't wait to see more of this. Alright, here we got another solo developed game. This one is, well, compared to Mother Hub, much simpler in pretty much every aspect. Well, they're actually not the same style of game at all, but you get what I mean. This is a roguelite as far as roguelites goes. It is straightforward, wastes very little of your time before it's time for action, and works just as you expect a simple roguelite to do. You jump into a map, you are given 15 minutes to survive, there are a ton of temporary upgrades for you to unlock as you level up in each run. You come out of a run loaded with money to buy permanent upgrades and so on. But what made this one stand out to me and make it so damn fun to play is the fact that it feels like a Vampire Survivor style of game, but in first person. The upgrades are not simply tied to your own attributes or weapons. Oh no, a lot of them are, for example, a drone flying around shooting. Another one can be a katana that just keeps on bouncing around your enemies. And these things, along with you and your weapons, can grow incredibly strong, alongside bosses that drops chests and other unexpected things happening throughout a run. Now, the game really gives off that casino feeling of every time you level up, you get somewhat excited. And it happens often. Exactly the same feeling that makes most of us enjoy Vampire Survivors so much. However, the game is not without its flaws. It feels very basic at its core. The shooting is not all that exciting, nor is the levels, but it is damn fun. Now this is one impressive dungeon crawler to say the least. This is a PvE PvP first-person dark fantasy dungeon crawler, I think. I mean, you enter dungeons, look for loot, level up, kill monstrosities, do it with friends or solo, but always be wary of other players. I'm not sure how many players can be in each dungeon, but enough. Enough for you to kill and steal their loot, or vice versa. And of course I got absolutely slaughtered as soon as I saw another player. I panicked and that was it. Now I'm making the game sound fairly simple now, but it is not. It has some gorgeous, highly detailed graphics, a ton of equipment with stats and buffs, an inventory system that works a lot like the one in Diablo. I mean, it even looks like it. A merchant for selling and buying, different challenges and events, raw PvP where 3 versus 3 can battle it out. But always keep in mind, if you die, you lose everything that you had on you. So you cannot go swords blazing in this game. You have to be strategic, think and be careful. Now, as you might be noticing, my experience and knowledge around dungeon crawlers is massive. But before I leave this game, I also want to mention that the weapons are impressive. Very impressive in fact. They have a great punch to them. You can really feel and hear the impact of each swing with your sword in a very impactful way. Now, I didn't test out the magic all that much, so I can't speak for it, but hey, there is also magic in this game. And the game, it feels good and it screams of high quality, so it made it into the list. Oh man, I am all out of excitement. Now I have to be honest here and say that this game, it isn't for me. This is an arena-styled multiplayer shooter with no single-player campaign. Now it can be played offline versus bots, more specifically, the demo is only offline versus bots. But even though the game is not for me, I can't deny the fact that this is a fantastic game. A fantastic game developed by one person. It screams of high quality, a ton of different weapons, combat shells with different strengths and weaknesses, attachments, sidearms, perks and abilities, and somehow the cel-shaded graphics manages to look clean, good and unique, with some blood that really pops. And that is an achievement worthy to be mentioned, because I just love it when a game dares to go outside of the box and create something unique looking. But this game, it does not stop there. The movement, it feels unique to say the least. There is no sprint in this game. What you got instead is some crazy dives and slides. They do take a bit of practicing to nail, but the more you play, the better it starts to feel, and you really come to notice how much work and attention to detail has gone into making this game feel so insanely good. So even if you're not into this style of hero multiplayer action, I say give this one a spin. Do it just to feel the amazing work that has been put into this one. Do it to have an hour of playing around with the insane amount of different loadout combinations. Do it to feel badass for just a bit. Now here is another one that is definitely not my type of game, but I mean you can jump in and out of a mech whenever you want to, so naturally I had to have my eyes on this one. I'm happy to say that this is a very pleasant experience. It is your traditional craft and grind for resources survival experience, and it is very chill, loaded with happy colors, beautiful graphics and cute animals. And the mech? Well, it is actually fantastic. It's such a nice feeling just jumping into it and out whenever you want to, and using it to farm some wood and stone with your mech thing that you got on your mech arm. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, I won't say much more about this title as I am very inexperienced with survival crafting games, but I will say that it is a very peaceful game, and if you need a break from all the shooting, well, this hits just that relaxing spot perfectly. Now this one has had its fair share of bugs, as many of us already know, since the demo dropped a few days before next fest, that is. But I still want to feature this game because it is a ton of fun to play, and the developer is busting his ass off every day fixing the bugs. And comparing it now, a week after the demo dropped, it is a massive difference. It's a much more solid experience now, and most of all, a fun one at that. So what is this retro first-person shooter FLAW really? Well, to put it simply, it is exactly that. A retro first-person shooter that takes inspiration from the likes of Unreal, Quake and many others, which so many other games claims to do nowadays as well. But this one, it actually succeeds. It takes the inspiration and manages to create something that feels unique, fun and interesting to explore. You can by all means go guns blazing in this one, but you will most likely die or run out of ammo. Seeing as this is a hard first-person shooter, you have to conserve your ammo, pick enemies off one by one and take cover as best as you can. And sure, sometimes I just felt like I wanted to rush into a room and kill off everything, but the more slower pace adds to the immersion of the game. It does a great job at environmental storytelling, and it's much easier taking it in with the pace that the game has going. Now, just to be clear, it does not have a System Shock slow nor immersiveness to it, but it is sitting somewhere in between that and say Dusk. But the AI voice acting, it has to go. I even told the developer I could record some lines for him for free if he wants to. Some Slim in the game? I mean, what, huh? Come on. We can do it, we can make it work. Nonetheless, the game is a ton of fun, and who doesn't love exploring mysterious, dark, decaying spaceships out in space? I certainly do.
We've got to get out of this.
Now this is an interesting one to say the least. This is a melee speedrunning game, but there are some weapons that actually fires, like a bow and a throwable spear, but it's mostly a melee combat game. And the game boasts some gorgeous pixels and sprites that actually manages to look really dang good. Now your arms and weapons, they are all in beautiful 3D models, but they manage to blend perfectly into the rest of the pixely world. It is a pleasure to behold. So is the game any fun? Well, both yes and no. I have to be honest and say that I don't see myself playing this game all that much, due to the fact that it is a speedrunning game. A speedrunning game that didn't really get my adrenaline going, nor my fun meter to go up all that much. But at the same time, I know it is mostly a Slim thing. I don't find it all that exciting running as fast as I can and simply slicing fairly unexciting enemies. That doesn't take away the fact though that the game is good. It does set out to do what I just explained, and it does it with minimal hiccups, good balance and some cool mechanics. So if a speedrunning melee focused game set in an ancient Rome with some really good metal music sounds like your jam, I am almost certain that you will get enjoyment out of this. If not, well, it's still a decent game. Okay, it's bloodlust time. Shoot. Got him. We got him, boys. So my friends, we finally reached space in this video, and in space, if we look close enough, we might actually see my favorite game in all of this whole Steam Next Fest thingy thing. A game that features bears, 50s funky future, comedy, side activities, incredibly wacky but awesome weapons, and of course, space itself. In this game you play as a bear that has been fused with you, and you battle your way through robots that fires away projectiles in a bullet hell style, platform like a bear ballerina, find secrets, do mild puzzles, kill bosses, upgrade your weapons. I mean, this game literally has everything that I want from a good shooter, apart from blood and gore. Now I know some of you might be thrown off by the colorful and happy graphics, so let's touch a little bit on them, shall we? Now trust me when I say that I like my dark fantasy, rusty, body horror environment just as much as the next guy, but these Ratchet & Clank style graphics and animations fits this game perfectly. I would not want it any other way for this game. It's running on the Unreal Engine, but it does not have that unpolished touch to it. Things, they look great. Materials look as they are meant to look, with some great animation and feedback work on both the weapons and the enemies. Now I can't really fully express in a list video how much I like this game, so keep a lookout for my full review in March, and until then, go play the demo. Ooh la la, now this is probably the most immersive game on this list. If you can imagine it, you can do it. Okay, not that immersive, but heck, you can do a lot of stuff in this game. And the world, it just speaks to me. It speaks to me in both a nostalgic way and a beautiful one. The nostalgia, it comes from the good old Chronicles of Riddick games. Now if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should Google it and give it a peek. It's a pretty damn cool game just like this one. But the nostalgia doesn't necessarily come from the graphics, but more the animations, the way you swing your arms in combat, the interactivity and feeling of your movement. It's a special feeling that manages to feel super immersive but really hard to nail in video games, and this game, it nails it. And the beautiful aspects, well, it comes from the game's gorgeous lighting and jaw-dropping shadows. Everything just blends together perfectly to create an atmospheric, living and breathing gaming space for us. Other than that, the game offers a ton more. I barely know where to start honestly, but here's a quick rundown. Your character has a ton of different attributes that makes a huge difference on how the game feels and plays. There is no such thing as hunger and thirst, thank God. The dialogues, they play a huge role in the game, and so does your ability to be trustworthy. Objects, they can be used in combat, and here is really where the imagination sets the limits. I mean, break a chair and use its legs as a weapon, pick up a bottle and break it to make it into a sharp weapon, and so on. Now I'm going to leave it at that so I don't spoil the whole experience for you, but if you're looking for something immersive, fun and gorgeous looking, well, Corpus Edax won't let you down. Now this one just had to be on the list, it is so gosh dang good. However, I did cover it multiple times and you can even see me playing it on their Steam page. But if you want to know exactly what this demo is all about and my thoughts on it, well, go check out my review of the demo. I'll link it in the description of this video. But before moving on to the next game, I'll give you a little hint. It is very, very good and you should definitely play it. Tribes is back, baby, and it's back hotter and better than ever before. Now, it would be unfair of me to say that this game is for me when I said that Out of Action isn't for me due to it being a multiplayer first-person shooter. Now, Tribes is also a multiplayer first-person shooter, but nowhere near as intense and skill-based as Out of Action. This can be played in a much more chill manner. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of skill involved in Tribes, but the action is just not as hectic, nor does your reflexes require you to be as quick as a 12-year-old. Tribes is more about predicting your enemy's movement and outsmarting them with your own movement. It's all about getting momentum and speed in a huge open arena and fly around in it like Tony Hawk himself. Now that might actually sound scary, but it's really easy to get going and it feels great doing it. The Tribes demo is not offline, however. It is an online experience compared to the Out of Action demo, and it features 2 game modes, 4 different armor types and 2 handful of weapons. And they're actually pretty damn cool, so go check it out.
That's great. That's nice.
So this one was covered a long time ago in a stream when the demo first dropped. However, it is featured on Steam Next Fest again, so I'll briefly mention it, just so you don't miss it. Essentially what this is an open world movement shooter with a hoverboard. And if you ever played Severed Steel, well, then you know how this game feels. Because it is from the same developer, and the games, they share a lot of similarities with one another. Almost so much so that this could just as well have been called Severed Steel 2. Now the demo, it has gotten a lot of updates since it initially dropped. Meaning, now you can play it in co-op, take on a huge boss and a lot of more good stuff, so go play the demo. Eclipsium is actually not a shooter, but it does have the first-person perspective, and I chose to add this one in due to its fantastically hallucinative graphics, its wicked body horror environments, and light, but really fun puzzles. A sweet puzzle game to me is what I play every now and then to just relax. If a puzzle game is done right, I can easily just get sucked into it and totally lose all track of time. Now this demo, it was only around 20 minutes, but it did just that. I just wanted to keep playing to see what wacky, crazy thing would happen next, and what form of puzzle would the game throw at me after the one I was currently doing. It's a nice experience, and if you're up for it, this one will not let you down. You made it all the way to the end. You are freaking amazing. I love you, and join the Discord linked in the description, or else I might give you a kiss on the forehead. Don't miss these.